Amara Johnson locked up the university library at 10 p.m., exhausted from another long day of research. At 26, she was in her second year of a PhD program in sociology at UCLA, studying the intersection of race and economic mobility. Her days were consumed by classes, research, and working part-time at the library to pay her bills. She was brilliant, driven, and completely ordinary in her own mind, just another graduate student grinding through advanced degrees. What she didn't realize was that she'd caught the attention of someone extraordinary 6 months ago. Choi Dae-hyun had been visiting campus for a guest lecture series, his foundation sponsored when he'd wandered into the library looking for a quiet place to take a call. Amara had politely but firmly told him the library didn't allow phone calls and directed him to the courtyard outside. Most people would have been intimidated or offended. Dae-hyun was clearly wealthy, clearly important. But Amara had treated him like any other rule breaker, with professional courtesy and zero special treatment. He'd been intrigued immediately. Over the following months, Daehyun had arranged to be on campus more frequently, more guest lectures, more foundation meetings, always finding reasons to stop by the library. He and Amara had developed a friendship that slowly evolved into something more. She knew he was wealthy and connected, but had no idea of the true extent of his power. Daehyun was the head of the largest Korean American organized crime syndicate on the West Coast. At 39, he controlled a network that touched everything from legitimate businesses to underground operations. But with Amara, he was just a man who found her intelligence captivating and her complete lack of interest in his money refreshing. They'd been dating for 3 months now, though Amara still thought he was just a successful businessman who funded university programs. Tonight, as Amara walked to her car in the dimly lit campus parking structure, she was thinking about the research proposal she needed to finish by Friday. She didn't notice the three men leaning against a car until she was almost past them. "Hey, beautiful," one of them called out. "Need some company?" Amara's instincts immediately screamed danger. The men were clearly not students, too old, too rough, dressed in clothes that marked them as outsiders to the campus environment. She kept walking, keys gripped between her fingers the way her mother had taught her. "I'm talking to you," the man said, stepping into her path. His two friends flanked her, boxing her in. "I'm not interested in conversation," Amara said firmly, looking for an escape route. "Please move." "Or what?" The leader, a white man in his 30s with gang tattoos, moved closer. "You gonna call campus security? Make a scene?" "Nah, you're gonna listen to what we have to say." "I don't know you and I don't want to. Move." One of the other men, Latino, with a scar across his cheek, grabbed her arm. "Your boyfriend owes our boss money. A lot of money. And since he seems to be avoiding payment, we're here to send him a message." Amara's blood ran cold. "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have a boyfriend who owes anyone anything." Choi Dae-hyun, that's his name, right? Rich Korean guy, drives a Bentley, thinks he owns this city. "I know someone by that name, but he's just a friend and he doesn't owe." The scarred man twisted her arm painfully. "Don't lie. We've been watching. You're his girl. Which makes you leverage." What the three men didn't know, what they couldn't have known, was that Amara had been under discreet protection from the moment she'd started dating Daehyun. Two of his men were always nearby, watching from a distance, ready to intervene if needed. The moment the scarred man grabbed Amara's arm, a black SUV screeched to a stop 30 feet away. Four men emerged, moving with military precision. "Let her go," one of them said in Korean accented English. Now the three would-be kidnappers froze. The leader recognized the situation immediately. These weren't campus security or random Good Samaritans. These were professionals. "We don't want trouble," he said, releasing Amara and backing away. "We're just delivering a message." "You touched her. That's beyond a message. That's a death sentence." The four men surrounded the three kidnappers efficiently. Amara watched in shock as the situation flipped. Suddenly she wasn't the one in danger. Her supposed kidnappers were. "Who sent you?" the lead security guard asked, his voice deadly calm. "We're not saying shit." He moved faster than Amara could track, striking the leader in the solar plexus hard enough to drop him to his knees. "You touched someone under Boss Choi's protection. Your options now are talk and maybe live, or stay silent and definitely don't. Choose quickly." The scarred man, clearly the smartest of the three, spoke up. "Tommy Rodriguez sent us. He said Choi owed him for a shipment that got intercepted. Said to grab his girl, force him to pay." "Tommy Rodriguez is a mid-level dealer with delusions of importance," the guard said. "And you three are fools who didn't do your homework. Do you know who this woman is?" Choi's girlfriend, this woman is studying to help communities your boss exploits. She volunteers at youth centers. She tutors kids for free. She's a civilian with no connection to our business, except that our boss cares about her. And you grabbed her, threatened her, and traumatized her. He pulled out his phone. Boss needs to know about this. Amara, finding her voice, stepped forward. Wait, just wait. What is happening? Who are you people? The lead guard looked at her with something like sympathy. Ma'am, Mr. Choi will explain everything, but right now we need to get you somewhere safe. I'm not going anywhere until someone tells me what's going on. A new voice cut through the tension. Daehyun's voice, coming from the phone speaker. Amara, it's me. Are you hurt? Daehyun, these men said you owe someone money. They grabbed me. I know, I'm 10 minutes away. Stay with my security team. I promise I'll explain everything. Your security team? Why do you have a security team? But she was talking to dead air. He'd already hung up. Daehyun arrived in 7 minutes, not 10. He emerged from a convoy of 3 vehicles, flanked by more men in dark suits. When he saw Amara, relief and fury warred on his face. Are you hurt? He reached for her but stopped, clearly unsure if he had the right to touch her anymore. I'm fine, confused, scared, and angry, but fine. Amara looked at the scene around her. The professional security team, the 3 men now restrained and terrified, the clear power dynamic that put Daehyun at the top. Who are you? Really? Daehyun glanced at his security team. Take those 3 somewhere secure. I'll deal with them later. Then to Amara, can we talk? Privately? I think we need to. They went to his car, the Bentley she'd teased him about being ostentatious. Once inside the soundproof interior, Daehyun turned to face her. I've lied to you, he began. Not directly, but by omission. I'm not just a businessman who funds university programs. I'm the head of an organization that controls significant territory in Los Angeles. What the media would call the Korean Mafia, though we prefer to think of ourselves as a protection and business network. Amara stared at him. You're a crime boss. Yes, I run operations that range from completely legitimate to less legal. I inherited this position from my father 10 years ago. I've tried to modernize it, reduce violence, move toward legitimacy, but I'm still who I am. And those men, the ones who grabbed me, work for a competitor who thinks I wronged him. He's wrong, but in this world, perception matters more than truth. They were going to kidnap you to force me to negotiate. Daehyun's hands clenched. I should have told you sooner, should have warned you that being close to me puts you at risk. Why didn't you? Because for the first time in a decade, someone looked at me and saw just a man. Not power, not danger, not opportunity, just me, and I was selfish. I wanted to keep that as long as possible. Amara processed this information, her brilliant mind working through implications. The foundation that funds my research, that's yours. Yes, the guest lectures you keep attending. You're not actually interested in sociology, are you? Actually, I find your work fascinating. But yes, initially I came to see you. Jesus, Amara put her head in her hands. I've been dating a gangster. My mother would have a heart attack. You've been dating a man who happens to run an organization, Daehyun corrected gently. A man who is completely in love with you and terrified he just lost you. Amara looked up at him. In love with me. Completely. Hopelessly, since the day you told me to take my phone call outside like I was any other rule-breaking student. Daehyun's expression was vulnerable in a way she'd never seen. I understand if this is too much. If you want to walk away, I'll protect you from a distance. You'll never be at risk, because of me again. Amara didn't walk away, not immediately. Instead, she asked Daehyun to show her his world, to help her understand what being with him really meant. Over the next week, she saw both the power and the burden he carried. She attended a business meeting where Daehyun negotiated territory rights with another organization, all done professionally, like corporate executives dividing market share. She visited community centers his organization funded, seeing genuine good his money did. She also saw the other side, the enforcers, the implicit violence, the way people feared him even as they respected him. This is a lot, she told him one evening in his penthouse office. You do genuine good, the youth programs, the business loans for Korean immigrants, the community support. But you also operate in a world where violence is always an option. It's the only world I know how to operate in, Daehyun admitted. I was 29 when my father was killed by a rival organization. I could have walked away, but hundreds of families depended on us. I chose duty over freedom. Do you regret it? every day, and never. It's complicated. He moved to stand beside her at the window. But Amara, I need you to understand something. Those men who grabbed you, they're being dealt with. Not violently. I promised you I'm trying to reduce that. But they'll face consequences. What kind of consequences? The kind that ensures they never threaten anyone under my protection again. Amara was quiet for a moment. I'm a sociologist. I study power structures and social hierarchies. Academically, I understand what you do. You've created a parallel governance system for a community that feels underserved by official channels. You provide protection, conflict resolution, economic opportunity. It's not legal, but it's functional. But emotionally, I'm terrified, because caring about you means being a target. It means living in a world where 3 men can grab me in a parking lot because someone has a grudge against you. I know, which is why I'll understand if you choose to leave. What if I don't want to leave? What if I want to stay, but I need guarantees? Daehyun turned to face her fully. What kind of guarantees? That you're serious about moving toward legitimacy, that the violence is truly a last resort, that I'm not just a trophy or a weakness you're keeping around because you're lonely. Amara met his eyes, and that you'll never lie to me again, about anything. I can handle difficult truths, but I can't handle deception. I can promise all of that. But Amara, you need to know, being with me means accepting protection, constant protection. Can you live with that? Can you live with me continuing my research and activism, even if it sometimes conflicts with your business interests? Yes, your work is who you are. I won't ask you to change that. Then we'll figure it out, together. The 3 men who'd threatened Amara were handled quietly, roughed up enough to send a message, then released to their boss Tommy Rodriguez with a clear warning: stay away from Choi's territory and his people, or face escalation. But Rodriguez, high on his own product and convinced he'd been disrespected, decided to escalate anyway. 2 weeks after the parking lot incident, he made a move that shocked everyone. He posted photos of Amara online, where she lived, where she worked, her daily routines, with a bounty, $50,000 to anyone who could grab her and deliver her to him. Amara learned about it when Daehyun's security team woke her at 3 a.m., insisting she needed to leave her apartment immediately. By dawn, she was in a secured location, a penthouse apartment with guards at every entrance. Daehyun arrived an hour later, fury barely contained. I'm ending this, today. How? Amara asked, frightened but trying to stay calm. Rodriguez crossed every line. He put a bounty on a civilian, posted your information publicly, and made you a target for every opportunistic criminal in the city. He's violated every unspoken rule of our world. So what does that mean? It means I have the backing of every major organization in Los Angeles to remove him, permanently. Amara grabbed his arm. Daehyun, no. Not like that. Not murder. He put a price on your head, and killing him makes you a murderer. There has to be another way. Daehyun was torn. His instinct, his entire training, said to eliminate threats permanently. But Amara represented something different, a pull toward a better version of himself. What do you suggest? He finally asked. Amara thought quickly, her academic mind working through social dynamics. You said he's high on his own product, right? That he's making reckless decisions. Use that. Document it. Show his own organization that he's unstable and putting everyone at risk. Turn his people against him from the inside. That takes time, and meanwhile you're in danger. Then we have time, and we use it wisely. Daehyun, if you kill him, you prove to everyone, including me, that violence is still your first solution. Show me you've really changed. Show me there's another way. It took 3 weeks. Daehyun's people documented Rodriguez's drug use, his erratic behavior, his reckless decisions that put his entire organization at risk. They leaked information to Rodriguez's own lieutenants, planted seeds of doubt, and waited for the inevitable. When Rodriguez's own second-in-command arranged to meet with Daehyun, offering to hand over his boss in exchange for a peaceful transition of power, Amara watched from a secure location as Daehyun negotiated a solution that involved no deaths, just a strategic power shift. Rodriguez was arrested by legitimate police on drug charges, with evidence conveniently provided anonymously, his organization absorbed by his former second-in-command, and the bounty on Amara removed. You did it, Amara said, when Daehyun returned. You solved it without killing anyone. Because you pushed me to. Left to my own devices, Rodriguez would be dead, and I'd be dealing with a war with his organization. Daehan pulled her close. You're changing me, Amara, making me find better solutions. Good, because if we're going to make this work, you need to keep changing. 6 months after the parking lot incident, Amara defended her doctoral dissertation. The room was filled with professors, fellow students, and in the back, barely noticeable, 3 of Daehan's security team. Daehan himself sat in the front row, proud and attentive, as Amara presented her research on alternative community governance structures. Her thesis, ironically, touched on organizations like Daehan's, how marginalized communities sometimes created parallel power structures when official institutions failed them. She didn't mention him by name, but she'd incorporated insights from their conversations, creating a nuanced analysis that earned her committee's highest praise. After the defense, as they celebrated at a quiet restaurant, Amara raised her glass. To new beginnings. To you, Daehan corrected. Dr. Johnson now. I'm incredibly proud. I couldn't have done it without your support, financial and emotional. Amara paused. Though I still won't let you pay off my student loans. That's mine to handle. I know, you've made that very clear. Daehan smiled. But I can hire you as a consultant, can't I? Your expertise in community structures could help us transition more of our operations toward legitimacy. Are you seriously offering me a job working for the Mafia? I'm offering you a job helping reshape an organization into something better. Something that serves the community, without the criminality. It'll take years, maybe decades. But Amara, you showed me it's possible. Amara considered this. I'd have conditions. Of course you would. Full transparency. I see everything, know everything, no secrets. Agreed. Protection continues, but discreetly. I don't want to live in a bubble, already arranged, and we work toward an exit strategy. Eventually, I want us to be completely legitimate. No more underground operations. Daehan took her hand. That's a 15-year plan, at minimum. Can you commit to that? Can you? With you? Yes. You're my compass now, Amara. The only person who's ever made me want to be better, rather than just more powerful. 1 year later, they married in a ceremony that blended Korean and African American traditions. Security was heavy, but invisible. Guests included academics, community leaders, and carefully separated members of Daehan's organization who were transitioning to legitimate roles. As they exchanged vows, Amara reflected on the journey from that terrifying night in the parking lot to this moment. 3 men had threatened her, not knowing she belonged to the most powerful man in the city. But more importantly, not knowing that she didn't just belong to him. He belonged to her too, transformed by her presence, guided by her principles, becoming someone better because she'd insisted he could be. You know, she whispered during their first dance, those 3 idiots in the parking lot actually did us a favor. They forced everything into the open, made us confront who we are and what we want. Remind me to send them a thank you card. Daehan said dryly, from my secure, undisclosed location, where they can never find me. Amara laughed. See, you're already funnier than when we met. I'm clearly a good influence, the best influence, my conscience, my guide, my reason for being better.
Hey.
Just remember that when I'm pushing you to close another underground operation, I'll try to remember it while crying about the lost revenue. They, surrounded by 2 worlds that had learned to coexist, proving that sometimes the most unlikely combinations, a graduate student and a crime boss, academic idealism and street pragmatism, threat and protection, could create something extraordinary. Have you ever seen someone seriously miscalculate who they were dealing with, or been underestimated yourself, only to prove the doubters spectacularly wrong? These moments of revelation, when power is hidden, when strength is unexpected, remind us that appearances deceive. Amara seemed powerless, an easy target, but she belonged to someone powerful, and more importantly, she had the power to transform that power itself. What's your story of being underestimated, or witnessing someone make a massive mistake about who they were threatening? Share below, because we all love a good they didn't know who they were messing with story.